Good day, my name is Jessamine Mendez and I was assigned to discuss about the production function. So first of all, what is production? Production means the process of using the factor of production to produce goods and services. In another meaning of that is production is the process of combining inputs to make goods and services. So production, it is the process of transforming inputs into outputs. So, for example of that is kanang nagluto ka, ano na yung pagluto, that is what we call production, kaya nakay i-produce or nakay result after nimo pagluto. And in production, there is an input and output. What is input? Input or inputs refers to the factors of production that a firm used in the production process, while outputs refers to what we get at the end of production process. It is a finished product. So input is just like the main ingredient of certain to produce a certain goods. For example, if you want to bake a cake, you should have the input or the main ingredients, which is the flour, the sugar, etc. And then you process all the main ingredients and transform into outputs. That's what we get at the end of the production process, the output or the bake, for example. Next is the types of inputs. There are two types of inputs: the fixed input, an input which the quantity does not change according to the amount of output. So the example for fixed input is if you wanted to produce any product and you use one machine, and if you increase your output into 1,000 times, still you use one machine, and the quantity of machine does not change. That's the example of our fixed input. From the word itself, fixed, meaning steady lang. So bisan unsa pa kadaghan imong idugang na output sa fixed input, ang quantity sa fixed input, for example, is the machine dili magdugang. While in variable input, the example of that is when you increase your production of burger from 10 units to 10,000 units, you also have to add the burger, and the bills, electricity will also increases. So in variable input, the input vary according to the amount of output. There are four factors of production. First is the land. It is all natural resources or gift of nature. So it is one factor of production because it is very impossible to build a production without land. Next is the capital. Capital, part of man, made wealth used for further production. So also it is very impossible to build the production without a capital or a money to use to build a production. Next is the labor. Labor is the physical or mental activities of human beings. So the production is useless without the labor. Next is the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is a person who combines the different factors of production and initiates the process of production and also bears the risk. There are three types of production. The first one is the primary production. Primary production is carried out by extractive industries like agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, and oil extraction. So this type of production, it involves extracting the gift of nature. For example of that is fishing. They're directly getting the gift of nature, kaya na pagpangisda, pagkuha sa mga isda. That production is called primary production. Next is the secondary production. Secondary production includes production in manufacturing industry, turning out semi-finished and finished goods from raw materials and intermediate goods. So the one that already consider as that can already consider as a finished product can produce another product. So for example is the flour. The flour can produce another product, which is the bread. So in secondary production, the one that already a finished product can produce another product. For example, another example is kanang iron. The iron is already semi-finished or finished goods, but also can produce a finished steel. That's what we call secondary production. Next is the tertiary production. Tertiary production, industries in the tertiary sector produce all the services which enable the finished goods to be put in the hands of consumers. So in tertiary production, muna siya ang kind of production na ganing gi-deliver, deliver or nag-distribute na distribution and sale of goods. In short, this kind of production involves distribution and sale of goods from secondary production. So, ang mga na-produce sa secondary production, i-distribute, and that distribution is what we call tertiary production. Next is technology and production. A firm's technology refers to the methods it can use to turn inputs into outputs, produce goods or services. So, especially nowadays, bitaw na very kanang gamit na kayo ang technology, especially sa production. Very very necessary ang technology sa production to turn inputs into outputs in an easier way. Next is the production function. It is a statement of the functional relationship between inputs and outputs, where it shows the maximum output that can be produced with the given inputs. So in production function, this is a way ni siya para makita ang pilay na produce sa mga given outputs. There is kanang what we call this formula Q, that stands for in the formula the Q stands the output, the F function, the K is for capital, L labor, M for raw material, and etc. So you will read this as the output is equal to the function of capital, labor, raw material, and etc. That's all.